There are currently 665 unique soundtracks in old school RuneScape. The songs are iconic and are linked to a large part of the nostalgia we feel for the game. The next 30 seconds are examples of that. Okay, I don't know about the last one, but this video is dedicated to that soundtrack. When you enter a new region, you unlock the region soundtrack. And out of those 665, I challenged my viewers, how many soundtracks can you unlock in 1 hour? The only rule is you can't use any help from anyone else, including anyone else's play-around house. The winner gets 1 billion GP. Something to note, in your audio settings, there's a mechanic in game now where you can click modern in the music area mode, which unlocks multiple tracks and plays them randomly in certain larger regions. I think this will actually make the speedrunning more interesting because people don't have to run around in a specific area as long, but must focus on more unique areas in the game. Now, I'm not rich on RuneScape, so these videos I buy old school RuneScape bonds to award the winner of the challenge, and I couldn't do it without the sponsor of this video. Legends of Eidolon is a fast-growing MMO that was released in April this year. The gameplay is a mix of RuneScape and MapleStory with basic skills like mining, fishing, and woodcutting, which you can AFK, and a combat system that reminds me of old MapleStory if you're familiar with that. And as you can see, the game has a 2D classic art style. But I really haven't played any MMOs like Eidolon because you can actually make multiple characters and have them work together even when you're offline. You can specialize each character into one of 11 unique classes, and each class has its own talent tree and playstyle. Here's an example. You can be actively fighting on your Squire character while your Barbarian and Shaman are mining ores and chopping logs to craft into new equipment for your Bowman, who can then help you kill the world boss and unlock more content. Now, the game has over 1.2 million registered users, a 90% positive rating on Steam with over 2,500 reviews, and gets updates multiple times every month. And it's cross-platform, so you can sync your account with any Android device and play it there as well. So make sure to check out Eidolon through the link in the description. Thanks to Legends of Eidolon for sponsoring this video. Let's get started with the run. Make sure to leave a like on this video. Ivonabi starts with 16 soundtracks unlocked here in Lumbridge. It looks like he has some specific gear picked out for his run. He's also talking to Evil Bob. He must have waited for that random event to spawn. And to start off his run, he talks to Evil Bob and teleports out to the random event, instantly unlocking 11 music tracks. With this modern music setting, when he goes to any random event, he unlocks every random event soundtrack. He then quickly goes into Death's Domain, then uses the vampire in Lumbridge Graveyard to go to the Stronghold of Security, and then teleports to Varrock and heads over to King Rold, where he's going to start the Priest in Peril quest. But he's picked out a specific route while he does the quest to get the maximum amount of soundtracks unlocked. He even has specific tiles marked where you can unlock other soundtracks. He takes pit stops like these to unlock other tracks multiple times during the quest. For example, while he's handing over 50 rune essence, he then teleports to Edgeville in between inventories and goes into the Soul Wars portal to pick up another 3 tracks. When he first enters Mauritania, he doesn't unlock any tracks, but there are actually dozens in this region that he's going to end up unlocking later on, and we'll have to see if other competitors also do the quest, otherwise they'll be at a huge disadvantage. Pitosin Teepee starts off by talking to the Freaky Forester, and he's going to unlock 11 tracks because of it. He then heads over to the Mind Altar and picks up a track, and then the Body Altar to pick up another track. From there, he hits the Stronghold of Security quickly, and then teleports to the Warriors Guild and heads northwest. All of the contestants you're seeing trained up some stats to decent levels, while being careful to unlock as few music tracks as possible. Pitosin Teepee heads underground to the Skeletal Wyverns, and he teleports into Varrock now, but heads over to the Estate Agent. There, he's going to move his house to Taverley. Pretty good strategy, switching your house location so you can teleport somewhere else easily. And he immediately teleports to Taverley with this method. There are so many different small regions of RuneScape, like this one in Goblin Village. that I just wouldn't have remembered to hit. Patos and Teepee remembers though and goes up that ladder to unlock the track. After that, he heads back south down to the Taverley dungeon. And once he goes down, it looks like there's a high level bot with a trimmed strength cape about to go kill blue dragons. I'll have to check that out for my next video. But after unlocking a couple tracks down in the dungeon, he teleports back to Varrock and banks quickly. The amount of pressure these guys must be feeling having planned out so meticulously an hour-long run. The run is planned down to the second, so when you open your bank, you need to know exactly what you're taking out. And then quickly uses the Ring of Wealth to teleport right next to an estate agent in Falador, where he again changes the location of his house to Relica. None of the other contestants use this mechanic, which is interesting. So again, there were almost no rules in this challenge. That meant you could play on basically any account, no matter how far it had progressed. But the more you progress, the more soundtracks you've unlocked and the harder it is to unlock the marginal soundtrack. Because of this, there's a certain strategy that helps, and Pi starts his run off by doing just that strategy. Having progressed somewhat on the account, Pi is going to switch his music setting from classic to modern. He was able to access specific areas without unlocking broader regions on classic mode, so he has plenty to still unlock when he switches over to modern mode for his run. What's also helpful is having these grid lines on screen to mark where the next soundtrack starts playing. While I've been talking, Pi's already gone to Falador twice, Taverley Dungeon, and the Tree Gnome Stronghold. Pi's gonna go down into the Ham Hideout and then over to the Lumbridge Swamp Cave. Other important areas not to miss are the rune crafting altars. Pi doesn't forget and is wearing a water tiara, which allows him to access the water altar. He's then gonna travel to Karamja and go to the Tsar region to unlock 5 more soundtracks. And he didn't forget to attempt to fight Jad for another soundtrack. Obviously in these runs you're going to see a lot of use of jewelry for teleports. Pi uses the Necklace of Passage to first go to the Wizard Tower and then over to the Outpost. Pi is going to then again use the Necklace of Passage to teleport to the Eagle's Eyrie, but even with the modern way of unlocking music, unlocking all the tracks in the desert region still takes Pi Dung Pi over 3 minutes. We're back with Ivonabi as he heads south away from Castle Wars to the Smoke Devil dungeon. He heads over to ZMI Runecrafting as well and eventually makes his way over to Relica. If you've been noticing his chat box, he's been incredibly busy unlocking tracks. What I really didn't expect though was for him to go straight up to Brunt the Chieftain and start the Fremennik Trials quest. But he only does it to go into the Swenson puzzle and the Thorvald fight, which each unlock a track. He's then going to use a burning amulet to teleport into the wilderness. If you were looking at that chat box as he scrolls through, when you enter the wilderness, you unlock all of the soundtracks in the wilderness. It's absolutely insane. That looked like 15 tracks, I'm not quite sure though. Obviously, that's not including caves or runecrafting altars in the wilderness, so we make sure to hit those up as well. If you haven't noticed yet, Ivonabi's run is actually organized by large regions in RuneScape. He's just finishing up the Wilderness region. After that, he goes on to the Asgarnia region, starting in Taverley and going into Taverley Dungeon, and then going to Falador and buying himself a play-round house. He eventually makes his way over to Karamja, where he's going to go into the Agility Pyramid and eventually head to the Brimhaven Dungeon, and before the run started, he must have gotten 10 woodcutting in Lumbridge to chop those roots down in the dungeon. He teleports over to the Duel Arena, makes sure to hit the Fire Altar, and then heads over to the Mage Training Arena. Once again, he previously got a requirement to access this 33 magic in that same small tile in Lumbridge. And now he's gonna switch over to the Desert region to unlock a lot more tracks. We're back with Patos and Teepee, and he's just changed his house location to Relica and teleported there to unlock some more tracks. Now the defining factor in this run was the preparation. How many tracks do you unlock before the run when training up skills or doing quests to then unlock more tracks in your run? Compared to some of the other contestants, Patos and Teepee has unlocked extra tracks before the run started. He had 23 tracks unlocked when he started his run, while Ivonabi, for example, had 16. And when taking a look at this account's stats, you can start to see why. It has 40 construction, which is the reason it can change its house location to Relica. One of the other reasons he's unlocked more tracks is that he already did Priest in Peril before the run. Even in classic mode, he had to unlock a couple of tracks to complete that quest. TP is gonna talk to Caroline to start the Sea Slug quest, and after a short cutscene, accesses the fishing platform to unlock an extra track. He then does a brief stint in Karamja, unlocking a bunch of tracks, and then heads over to the Barbarian Fishing region. He talks to the Barbarian Tutor so that he's then able to hop down into the whirlpool, which unlocks barbed wire. He quickly teleports to the corporeal beast to unlock 2 more tracks, and then to Wintertodt he has that 50 fire making to access the boss, and over to the wizard's tower. I'm not showing a lot of footage of some of these runs because of overlap with other runs, but one thing was Paidongpang did not mind hopping worlds to get into different things. For example, he stops off at LMS, hops into the LMS world, and very quickly is able to join a game and unlock an extra track. So far though, he's been about on pace with the other contestants in this competition. In the final 15 minutes of Evo Nabi's run, he still has 3 large regions to visit to unlock tracks: the desert region, Zeya, and Mauritania. To note, in the desert region, he did get 21 thieving in Lumbridge to access the pyramid plunder minigame and unlock an extra track. Once he's done with the desert region, he moves on to Zeya and eventually teleports to the Wintertodt and actually enters the Wintertodt, which means he also got 50 fire making before this run started. He spends about 5 minutes in Zeya before going to Mauritania, again because he unlocked Priest in Peril so he can unlock all of these tracks. With less than a minute left, Evo Nabi finds himself in Port Phasmatis. The last track he unlocks in his run is Phasmatis with 8 seconds left. And as you can see, his account has 336 music tracks unlocked. Remember, his account started with 16. That means he unlocked 320 music tracks in just 1 hour. We're back with Pitosin TP as he finishes up the desert region and heads over to the Falador party room. He's gonna quickly head over to the air altar, teleport to the cooking guild, and then over to the woodcutting guild in Zeya. Things happen in these runs so quickly, honestly, it's hard to keep up. Pitosin TP then takes the long trek over to the chambers of Zarek to unlock an extra track. Remember, I'm trying not to show too much repetitive footage in each run. Obviously, for the top runs, these guys are gonna go to a lot of the same places. TP's gonna go into the Karulm Slayer dungeon though. He doesn't have the boots for it and is taking a lot of damage, but luckily he's brought food. And in the last 30 seconds, he finds himself on Zeya with 340 music tracks unlocked. Remember, he started with 23 music tracks unlocked, which means he unlocked a total of 317 music tracks. That's just 3 short of Evo Nabi's run. Paidongpai also seems to have pre-completed Priest in Peril, adding to the total number of tracks he started out with, but saving time during the run. With 4 minutes left, Paidongpai heads over to the southeast corner of the Grand Exchange and opens up a clan hall. That unlocks a track, but then also playing the piano in the clan hall unlocks another track. Paidongpai then heads to the northeastern part of the Grand Exchange and starts hopping world spectating teams at different locations within the Theater of Blood to unlock multiple soundtracks. Time runs out on Paidongpai and he's unlocked 319 music tracks. He started with 24 tracks unlocked, which means he unlocked a total of 297 music tracks in 1 hour. Nice job. The winner is Evo Nabi by only 3 soundtracks. Pitosin TP was so unbelievably close. The 1 billion GP goes to Evo Nabi, who has won a challenge of mine before. He's an incredible speedrunner. I also awarded Pitosin TP the runner-up 100 mil. He was so close. Here are the high scores quickly for this challenge. Also, a huge thanks to the GP donators in this video. Specifically, Joe Rogaines, Ponder Life, who's Ponder Life on Twitch, S44, You Let Rin Die, Pink Mohawk Ninja on YouTube, Zoxo, and Welldrink. I'm also happy to announce the next challenge. Clips are due 2 weeks from the release of this video. How much GP can you make in 1 hour? Except you can use any account. The only catch is you must start with 0 GP and nothing in the bank. Obviously, if you have untradables, you can keep those in the bank, but you can't use any untradables that you don't fully obtain in your run. More rules are posted on the community tab of my channel. Make sure to check back there in case I tweak any of the rules shown on screen. I'm really looking forward to this one.